Dear students, today's topic is mathematical tools in classical electrodynamics. In this topic, we will discuss about a very important mathematical function which is known as Dirac's delta function. If we talk about the classical electrodynamics, is a very important then the classical electrodynamics can be summed up. It discusses these very important properties in which the first equation classical electrodynamic Coulomb's law equation in electrostatic. The second is in the magnetostatics. The third equation is the Faraday's law of EM induction. The fourth equation is the modified form of Ampere's law. The fifth equation is the conservation of charge equation, which is also known as equation of continuity. And the last equation is the Lorentz force law. So let us understand what is a Dirac's delta function. You can see in this figure that this is a shaded portion of width epsilon. The length of this shaded portion is 1 by epsilon, and if you find the area which is given by length into breadth, then the total answer comes out to be 1. So here lies the whole concept. The great physicist Paul Dirac devised this function. This function is 0 at every points, but whenever it reaches to the desired point where we wish to find out the value of the physical quantity, it shoots up to the infinity. Let us understand these mathematical equations written on this slide in the next. So you can see in this slide I have made some rectangles. If you notice the first rectangle has a length which is equals to 1 by 2 sigma. Then it must have the width of 2 sigma such that the area of the rectangle always comes out to be 1. You can see in the mathematical representation here, the function is defined as r rho x, which is equals to 1 by 2 sigma, and this is the interval where this values lie. This only lies when x is between a minus sigma to a plus sigma. Otherwise, the value of the function is always 0 whenever you go towards the left hand side or you go towards the right hand side of this rectangle, that is x minus a mod is greater than a. Then we can always say that if we integrate this function from infinity to minus infinity, then the total results comes out to be 1. In the second example, you can see I have reduced the width of this rectangle. Due to the reduction of the width of the rectangle, the length increases. And again, if the length increases, the total result remains same. Say, if I say that 1 by sigma is the length, then I will say that sigma is the breadth, then the total answer will again comes 1. And in the third example, the same rectangle is repeated, the width is again decreased and the length is increased. So we can do this up to infinity. The length will shoot up and you can see that it will become tall and sharp and will move to infinity if and only if that sigma tends to 0, that means the width is almost 0. Then this function r sigma of x will known as Dirac delta function, which is written over here. So we will say that the limit of r sigma of x when sigma tends to 0 becomes delta of x minus a, which is known as a Dirac's delta function. Let us understand the physical significance of this Dirac delta function. This function is very weird function, and it is, you have seen that it is 0 everywhere, but it shoots up at the infinity at the desired point. So it is very important function whenever we solve the problems of quantum mechanics or we solve the problem of charge distributions in electrodynamics. This becomes very important. In this figure, you can see I have discussed the first property of Dirac's delta function, which is also known as the shifting property. In the figure you have seen that at this point where x is equals to 0, the function shoots up to infinity. Towards the left hand side and towards the right hand side it is 0. If I want to find the value of a function, say at point 1 here, now you can see that I have put f of 1 into delta of 1. F of 1 means that the function value at 1, and delta 1 is that what is the value of Dirac's delta function at 1. You can see at this point there is no existence of Dirac delta function, so f of 1 multiplied by 0, which is the value of Dirac delta function, the result of the function is 0. Similarly, if I choose some point 5 or some point 2 ahead of this graph, the same results come. Delta 5 is 0, therefore f of 5 is 0. That means this function is not going to fetch us any value lower than its limit and higher than its limit. It will only fetch us a value at the desired point where it is 0. So we write this function like this, that it is the product of a function f of x, this is some distribution, is multiplied with the Dirac's delta function, or you can write this like this also, x minus 0, it is remains same, because if you write x minus 0 or you write x, it remains same. But you can see that this 0 indicates us that we are working at point 0 as shown in the figure. So this will give us a value f of 0. Instead of this, if I replace my delta x with delta x minus x1, then this 0 is shifted to x minus x1. Then we have the value, instead of f of 0, we have the value f of x1. So this is known as the shifting property of Dirac's delta function, where the value of the function shifts as per the requirements of our Dirac. Now this whole can be understood in a phased manner. You can see this is a distribution, say this distribution I have named as fx as in my previous slide, and this is r sigma of x, which is a rectangle, and we will convert this rectangle to a shoot up function, to a impulse function, if and only if the sigma value tends to 0. So I have multiplied this f of x into Dirac's delta function, delta x minus a, and then I have replaced this delta function with r sigma of x, which is a Dirac delta function under the limit sigma tends to 0. We have substituted the value of this function. The value of function is 1 by 2 sigma, as we have done in the previous slide, and this f of x converts to f of a, and when you solve this function, this will fetch us the value f of a, because our working point was a. In the last slide our working point was 0 or x1, so we have got the points f of 0 or f of x1. Here the working point is a, therefore we have get the value f of a. So I think you all have now understood that we can calculate the value of distribution of a function at the desired point with the help of a Dirac's delta.